everyone. Hope everybody's doing okay. This is Tammy Peebles. I'm known as the fixer in the long-term care industry. I support nursing facilities with transformations in their clinical processes so that they can maintain and sustain long-term regulatory compliance. I also support nurses with professional development activities so that they can take their career to the next level. So last night I hopped on. I wanted to do a series on breast cancer. It is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And some people might say, well, why is she on live doing this? And what I say to that is, why not? Because the more that is talked about, maybe somebody can be saved. Maybe somebody's life can be saved. Maybe it's you. Maybe it's a family member. Maybe it's somebody else that you know. So we covered quite a bit last night. And before we get started, I just want to say that we want to honor the women and men who have passed from breast cancer. I've definitely been affected by breast cancer with my sisters. Personally, myself, I went through the battle, but we want to honor them as well, and as well as the ones that are newly diagnosed and currently going through the treatment. We can never forget, and this has to be a daily thing. We can't just wait till the month of October to bring light to breast cancer awareness, because we all know that every day people are being diagnosed, whether it's a man or a woman, with breast cancer. So I felt very compelled to come on and do this little mini series about breast cancer, because maybe you don't know everything about breast cancer, and maybe it's something that I'm going to say tonight that's going to stick with you. So, and that is my hope. So with that being said, I'm just going to kind of jump into part 2. So there are 3 parts. Last night we went over, we discussed the statistics around breast cancer and the warning signs around breast cancer. So tonight we're going to go over a couple other things, and that's going to be the risk factors associated with breast cancer. My hope is that you guys may have questions that I can answer either at the end or during the live, and feel free to do that. But I'm just going to jump right into it. So we're going to go over the risk factors associated with breast cancer. And so this could be men or women, but especially women. For women who have very dense breasts, it puts you at an increased risk for developing breast cancer. Also, exposure to radiation. Also, if you've had a disease where the estrogen level has been raised, for example, like cirrhosis of the liver or some other type of genetic disorder or some other type of syndrome. If you've had one female in your family that's had breast cancer, especially women or men that have been BRCA positive, BRCA2, that's a gene. If you've been BRCA positive, that puts you at risk. So, and I think that's pretty astounding right there, because for me, when I read this, the first thing I think about is a man, because men, they don't usually think that they're going to get affected by breast cancer because there have been other women in the family that has it, but it actually increases your risk of getting breast cancer. Also, having an inherited gene related to breast cancer, and the doctors can do all types of tests to test you. There are new genetic tests that are out that you can ask your doctor for to be tested for. And like I said, if you had sisters, mothers, aunts, you need to get tested, and you yourself and your children, because there's a likely chance that they could develop it as well. And so we talked about a little bit last night, like I said, about the risk factors, and we talked about being overweight. That's one of the main things. Being obese, and then not exercising. And, I can use a little help in this area too. And that is my plan, to start exercising a little bit more. And it's not like you have to change overnight. It's little incremental changes that are really going to be effective. So the next thing that I'm going to talk about is really interesting, is the stigma surrounding breast cancer. And it is stigmas surrounding breast cancer. First of all, people think it's just a death sentence when you get a diagnosis, and that's not necessarily true. There have been lots of advances in treatment options for everybody to choose from. But one of the stigmas that kind of sticks out to me, and I've heard this from people that I know, they think that if you have breast cancer, say I have breast cancer, that you're going to catch it because you're around me. That's not true. I'm not sure where that came from. I think that's just coming from a place of fear, but that's not really true. Some other stigmas surrounding breast cancer is, some people will avoid coming around you when you've been diagnosed or you're going through your treatment. They think they're going to catch it. Like I said, they think they're just going to catch it. It's not airborne, people. It is not airborne. It is a genetic mutation. Also, you can't eat or drink anything after a person with breast cancer. Now, that doesn't cause breast cancer, but what I would say, because I am a nurse, is that's not good infection control practices. So I wouldn't really advocate for you to be drinking and eating after people, but it's not a way to transmit breast cancer. The same things, sharing the plate, the spoons and forks and knives. Believe it or not, these things are out there floating around. People do really think that you can catch breast cancer by being in the room with somebody or helping take care of somebody that had breast cancer. And it's just really interesting. Like I said, I think it's just coming from a place of fear. They think that the person with the breast cancer can spread it to everybody. And like I said, I'm just not sure where that comes from, but that is floating around, and you've probably heard this yourself, or maybe you even think that, but it's absolutely not true. So what can we do about the risk factors for developing breast cancer? Well, one of the things we can do is men and women can join support groups, because there are other people there with you that are either at the beginning of the journey, in the middle of the journey, at the end of the journey. It's people there you can talk to. They know what you feel. They know how you feel as you're going through this journey. And they will just accept you how you are. You don't have to feel strange or anything about being among these other people, because I know sometimes people think when you have breast cancer, they start kind of treating you differently. And there's no reason to treat people different when they have cancer, any type of cancer, not just breast cancer. I mean, they're still people just like everybody else. And matter of fact, we need to come around those people even more, because what happens is when people start coming around people that are diagnosed with any type of cancer, whether it's breast cancer or not, the person begins to feel isolated. They feel like nobody cares. So you can only imagine what that may feel like. And I have to tell you, I had some of that as well. I don't want people feeling sorry for me. And most people don't want you feeling sorry for them. So the best thing that you can do is, you can offer them a support group or try to get them help. That way, the American Cancer Society has plenty of cancer treatment centers that have support groups for you to recommend your loved one or you to be involved in. And I highly recommend it. But the biggest thing to me, and for me personally, is just having the people around me that love me. And, just giving a phone call saying, hey, we're thinking about you. We support you. What do you need from us? And that goes a long way. You don't necessarily have to do a whole lot for somebody that's going through the treatment. Sometimes just being there, sitting with the person, being quiet, or, going to get them a glass of cold water or whatever it is, that's really helpful. So that's what I would say. And then the other big thing that we need to do is it needs more education on the symptoms and the treatment for all types of cancer. But since I'm talking about breast cancer, I'm going to talk about breast cancer. As we talked about last night, it's just a lot of misconceptions surrounding the breast cancer. And, we got to get past that. We have to not be silent. We have to stop being silent about it. It's not going to go away, guys. As I said last night, it has no name on it. So for me, the way I've always handled things, I never run away. I always run toward it. And I know that's a lot being said because everybody can't be strong like that. It's very devastating to get a diagnosis of any type of cancer. So I know that's easier said than done, but that's what we need to do. We need to stop being silent about it, and we need to continue to educate people on the treatment options and the symptoms of breast cancer. So the other thing that I just kind of wanted to mention is I want to talk a little bit about men and breast cancer, because we already kind of know, about the woman and breast cancer and how it affects them. But I thought it was very interesting when I was doing my research about men and how come they get it and they don't follow up and they don't go through with their treatment options, so they're more likely to die. So I just kind of wanted to share this with you because it kind of goes along with the stigma surrounding breast cancer. And so men, the stigma around men with breast cancer. Why? Why is there a stigma around men with breast cancer? And the research is showing that because they consider it to be a female disease and they feel shame about it. Or they see their breast tissue getting enlarged, which is a sign of breast, it can be a sign of breast cancer. So they don't go to the doctor to seek help. This means that basically they're getting diagnosed in later stages of the cancer. They think it's a feminized illness. Again, it goes back, they think it's something that just affects women. And as we all heard last night, and you guys probably heard on the news, Beyonce's dad has been battling breast cancer. And I think, it would be nice to see him step up and bring some more awareness to it, especially from a man's standpoint. There's a study I also read, and it talked about that 43% of men would question their masculinity if they were diagnosed with breast cancer. They don't feel like they would be less than a man. And there's a lot less support for men that leads to the isolation and depression and things like that. And that makes them want to shy away from the treatments. Because, it's a man again. They think they have to be strong. They think they have to be brave for the whole family. And this is where all of us can kind of get behind them and kind of encourage them to go through with their treatments. If they find something, jump on it as soon as possible. But unfortunately, the chances of survival if they don't go and get the treatments is less and less. So I do a lot of research, as you can hear. And it's basically saying that 90% of breast cancers in men, since it's reliant on estrogen, which is associated with a female hormone, that's the stigma that comes with men when they get diagnosed with breast cancer. So they don't want to talk to other men or family members that they might have to take estrogen pills as part of their hormone therapy to treat the breast cancer. So I just wanted to kind of mention that a little bit, and I thought that was pretty telling of how come men are diagnosed later and later. And I think we all can kind of understand that from a man's standpoint. However, we can't be quiet about it. If your loved ones, your brother, your husband, your significant other is experiencing things like that, you need to push them to go in as quickly as possible. And so, as I said, support groups, getting around them, family support, education on the symptoms and the treatments of it. And so for those of you who were not on last night, I would like to just kind of go back over some of the symptoms, because I did kind of go over that. And maybe this is you. Maybe you don't know, you don't think anything's wrong, but let me tell you, let me give you some of the warning signs. And I did this last night. The breast and nipple pain. The nipple is retracted, meaning that it's turned inward. It has a discharge. Shouldn't be anything discharging out the nipples unless it's breast milk. Okay, the other big thing is, I've heard people say this, I have these knots underneath my arms. And I would say things like, well, how long have you had that? For me, having been a breast cancer patient, I freak out about stuff like that. I'm like, listen, you need to go in and get that checked out, because that could be one of the things that is a sign of breast cancer. It can be a sign. I didn't say it was. It can be a sign of it. And then I also talked about last night how we have a lot of breast tissue. And so people just think, the front of the breast when they think about finding lumps and stuff. But in actuality, breast tissue goes all the way up to your collarbone. So you really need to be feeling around there for little lumps and nodules and things that are not normal, or something just pops up that wasn't there before. Okay, so those are just some of the warning signs that we went over last night. And I just kind of wanted to go back over that tonight, just for those that were not on last night. I just kind of wanted to do a review. So I'm not going to stay on long tonight, because I know the Cardinals had a game tonight, and I'm not sure if it's still on. I haven't had a chance to watch the TV. But if anybody has any questions or anything that they want to ask, you feel free to do that at this time. I'm more than happy to answer any questions for you. Okay, and then also, this is a 3-part series. So tomorrow night, or 8 o'clock, I'll be on again on this, the Infinity Long-Term Care business page. And just so you guys know, this is where I'll be doing my lives from, for the general, my general Facebook group. I do have an all-star nurses network for nurses. And I will be doing some teaching inside that network regarding professional development things. It's some good stuff that's going to happen. Maybe there's going to be some educational training and things offered over there. So the only way you'll know that is that you're in the forum, and you have to be in the room. As my coach says, you got to be in the room, and I don't mean in the physical room. You got to be in the room. So if you're a nurse and you're listening to this, look up All Star Nurses Network, and that is All-Star Nurses Network. Feel free to join. I'm happy to have you over there because it is a friendly environment. Where we get to talk about all types of nursing issues. But the main reason I wanted that network was to support nurses with professional development. We'll be able to talk about various things and what you guys need. Okay, and especially important with, I just recently got the accreditation from the American Nurses Credentialing Center. So, we can provide all types of CE activities. I'm really excited about that. Okay, so if you're a nurse, you can join the network and you'll get information there. But if you're in my general population of the Facebook family, you can be on this page. This is where I'll be doing the lives from when I do pop on. Is there any questions or anything that I can answer for anybody? No questions for anybody? I just want to make sure. Is this valuable for you guys? If it is, can you please type that in the chat bar or hit the like button or the little heart button? That really helps me know if I'm on the right track when I'm doing things like this, because I only want to be a support to you guys. I only want to bring high value to you guys. You guys know this is different for me. I am not the type of person that's just going to get on just to get on. I do want to, when I get on, it's because I want to bring you some high value information. So if this is supporting you, would you please hit the like button or the heart button, and you would share if you would like, if you feel like this is valuable information. But the big thing today is I want you to take away from this what I went over with you. Talk to your significant others. That is, I'm talking about the men, and your sisters and your aunts and your cousins and everything. Please, because I'm pleading with you guys. This is so important. And the more we talk about it, the less people we're going to have get diagnosed with it, and the less people that we're going to have dying from it. We do not have to die from this disease, as I said last night. So are there any questions or anything that you guys may have? I'm happy to answer the questions. No questions. One other thing I'll ask you guys is what types of educational activities you want to hear. And by me being a nurse for many years, I have a plethora of stuff that I can bring you guys. I've worked in various sectors of healthcare. I've just worked everywhere. I've worked in the intensive care unit, home health, hospice. I've been a chief nursing officer. So if there's anything specific that you guys want me to bring in this group, please type it in the chat button. You don't have to do it today. You can go back and type it in. I do go back and look at my chats. I'm more than happy to do it. I'm very excited to bring you guys this information. And then just before we get off one more time, somebody's saying something. Hi, Tina. Hi, Tina. How are you? I can't see it. Let me see. Oh, thank you, Tina. Thank you so much. She said it's good information. Tina, just so you know who's on, she is a hospice nurse, and her and I have an excellent relationship, so she knows all too well what I'm talking about, that this can be avoided. What I'm talking about, we can avoid, I'm not going to say we can avoid breast cancer, but we can reduce the number of people that are being diagnosed with it. And like I said, I am more than happy to stay on. If you guys have other questions, I want to make sure I answer Tina's questions. You're welcome, Tina. Thank you. Who else is on? Myrelle, thank you for joining. Amanda, thank you for joining. Brittany Millsap is in the house. Hi, Brittany. And my good friend, Shanice Nicole Shelton is on. Thank you guys for all your support. Like I said, I am going to be doing this on a regular basis, and I'm more than happy to bring information. As I said, this has been a lifelong dream for me to get to this point, to be able to provide education to people. But I don't want to just sit before you and bring you poor quality. We want high quality information. There may be times I might bring on somebody on to interview them, while I'm in the live, so you guys can get that information as well. And again, one more time before I get off, thank you for the hearts. If you're a nurse and you know other nurses, have them go to the All-Star Nurses Network, and that's All-Star Nurses Network, and join over there, because I have developed quite a bit of educational programs that CEs are going to be provided for, and you want to be in the house to learn about those things as as they're coming out. So if you guys don't have any other questions, I'm going to go ahead and jump off the call. And like I said, leave me all types of comments and stuff in the chat box, and I do answer those. So you guys have a good evening, and thank you for getting on, supporting me tonight. Bye, everybody. Bye.